I just can't take no pleasure in killing. Just some things you gotta do. Don't mean you have to like.
I like to dissect girls. Did you know I'm utterly insane?
You want to know what happens to an eyeball when it gets punctured? You got any idea how much blood jets out of a guy's neck when his throat's been slit?
Whatever you do, don't fall asleep.
What is up, everyone? DJ Nubis here with you on Meltdown Radio Podcast with my co-host and great friend, my ghoul brother from another ghoul mother, Mr. Tony of the Dead. We are the Ghouls of Midnight. Every week, we take a selection each and pick a movie, past, present, or future, to review. Could be in the horror genre, sci-fi, sometimes drama, sometimes comedy. And we just sit down and break it down a little bit for you and give you our thoughts on this. And so this time around, episode 105 is my pick, and I've chosen a movie called The Ceremony is About to Begin. 2024 is a found footage film. Not something I normally would pick, but I'd started watching it the other night, and all of a sudden some things about the plot got my interest. And so we'll find out as we go on here exactly what that means. But before we do, let's check out the trailer for this and see what it's all about.
I came across a flyer talking about a warm, welcoming environment. It sounded so nice.
When I met Osiris, he gave me an overwhelming feeling of safety, and he made me feel like I belonged somewhere.
It was a lot different than what I was used to. I mean, it looked like summer camp, kind of, but with this Egyptian theme going on.
So people keep asking me why I'm making this documentary, what my interest is in some hippie commune. I think the ethical thing to do is to be fully transparent.
It's just crazy. I've heard so much about you, and yet to meet you in person is like pretty wild right now.
Many years ago, there was a culture building pyramids in accordance with star systems that they couldn't see. I mean, think about that. I thought I could show you what we have seen and that you could then handle the information I want to give you. Apparently, you can't handle that.
Oh my God. What did you do? What did you do?
But if you can tell the story in the right way, nobody will be able to deny what we've done.
And so there's a trailer for the ceremony is about to begin. It is directed by Sean Nichols Lynch, stars Chad Westbrook Hinds, John Laird, Michelle Westbrook Hinds. So there's a couple in there. The plot is madness, mayhem, and mummification rites ensue when a documentary filmmaker visits the rural commune of an ancient Egyptian-inspired cult to interview its enigmatic leader. And of course, Chad Westbrook plays Anubis, John Laird plays Keith, and then Maddie is played by, I'm assuming maybe Chad's wife or girlfriend or even sister. I'm not really sure. Yeah. But either way, those are your main characters, really. And then you get these other people that pop up doing interviews and stuff, which is still kind of confusing because I don't know if those are people that are past or present. I'm assuming they're present because they're kind of looking back on it. Maybe those are the ones that left the cult initially. Your initial thoughts on this when you first started watching it?
Well, like I said, I was surprised that you were going to do a found footage. And I like, documentary style like that. It was interesting. I honestly, I never even heard of this movie. And I thought, I hope this is the one he's talking about because I thought I'm not going to ask you, but I could. Then when I started watching, I'm like, yeah, it was this one. So, yeah, I don't know. It intrigued me because it was found footage style, and it had, and a cult vibes always are. I'm a sucker for that too because it's so crazy. But yeah, it started off pretty good, to be honest.
Yeah, so I started watching it just on a whim. And then, like, obviously, when the Egyptian theme started coming, it's like, oh, okay, so this is right down my alley, and it's a little bit different. So I started looking it up a little bit, and then even though it has one review on Rotten Tomatoes, it's like a 100% from whoever gave the review.
Yeah.
And I know that's not much to go on, but I was like, wow, that's still, like, for one review or one critic to give it that, I'm like, that's okay, that tells me something. But then you start like reading up on it a little bit, and people are comparing it to a movie called Creep, which Neko and I actually really like when it comes to found footage.
I still haven't seen it.
See, Creep is really good, really good. But obviously, some of the reviews that I've read and stuff like that, they try to explain this a little bit. Like this is an interesting movie. I don't know if it hits quite as well as Creep does, but I do like some of the things they do in it. But I think as we go along, we'll kind of talk about like some of the things I don't like about it. I wish they would have done differently.
Yeah.
But clearly, Keith is a guy who's doing the filmmaking in the doc, and his girlfriend, who he said he was in love with and having a great relationship, just one day packed up and left and said she was going to this cult that's called, I forget what the name of them was, but
It's
obviously, what was that?
Osiris.
Yes.
Something.
Yeah.
Collective, I think it was, wasn't it?
Yes, you're right. Yep. It's the Collective. Osiris was their leader, an older gentleman. And the object was to, if you wanted to join, you had to give away all your belongings and your wealth, and then you take on this Egyptian name. It could be anything within the Egyptian mythology. And for Maddie, I think it might have been Mate. I can't remember if that's what they gave her or not. But anyway, for starters, like the cult itself wasn't really dark. Like a lot of the people that you see in the interviews talking about their experiences with it said that, oh, it was like summer camp, man. You go there and you just have fun and people got along and there was community and, you know, all that. There was nothing really dark or twisted about it. But then one day a gentleman shows up who takes on the name Anubis. And I don't relate to him, so don't confuse me with him. No. Good God. But he starts twisting people and turning them against each other. And one day he goes with the Osiris, who's the leader, and the leader dies, falls off a cliff or something. And eventually Anubis comes back down. He claims himself to be the new leader of the cult. And that's when everybody kind of like bails, and except for maybe like a couple dozen that stick around. So that kind of sets our premise. And of course, Keith, he's decided he's going to go and try to find out what happened to Maddie, who was his girlfriend. And so he goes to this location, this commune, and the only person he can find is Anubis, who a lot of people have talked about. And, you know, Anubis is quirky, eccentric, a little weird, to plainly put it. And as he starts hanging around with them, he just finds that the guy kind of like is really weird. And times he's normal, but then other times he like lashes out and gets angry. And then eventually at one point, Keith is drinking some wine with him or something and ends up like getting sick and then passing out. And so we know that at this point, Anubis probably drugged him with something. Yeah. So how do you feel when you get like around that point where he's basically unraveling and you can see some of the quirks from Anubis at that point?
Anubis was pretty unnerving. Like I didn't trust him for a second. He's just so awkward and off-putting, and Keith was trying to be nice at first, and then he finally like freaked out. But like, I think he waited too long. To like I don't know, you get there and there's supposed to be a couple dozen people and then there's nobody there, just this weirdo laying in the grass saying, oh, did I wake you? Oh, it's okay. Like, what the hell? What time is it? What day? Like, okay, buddy, you know. And he seems like he could be like, if you drank with him and got to like talk to him, it seemed like it was okay. But then, you know, he has alternative motives. And when they were drinking that wine and he wasn't drinking his, I thought there's something in that wine. And sure enough, that's what had happened. But like, yeah, the one thing I think it's a good setup in the story and everything, but that place did not, like, even if it was in its heyday, it was, there's no way that there was comfort there and everything, especially like if there's a highway down on the road, or highway on the road, highway down the embankment. And, you know, it didn't feel like a commune. It just felt like a rundown, like, I don't know, like a golfing course or something, like a putt something course.
Or like a small amusement park type thing where it was just something off, like something you see like a small circus off the side of the road or something.
Yeah, like come see Little Egypt.
Yeah.
And, you know, and they just have like a bunch of buildings and stuff. That's what it felt like. It felt very cheesy. And I thought who would want to? Okay, it's nice here, but and they have this Egyptian motif, but it was just so like not believable that. But Osiris, or I mean, Anubis was enough to keep your mind off of that because it's like, what's this dude? When is this dude gonna do something? Because it's not is he? It's when. And
Yeah, because Keith kept asking him, like, where is everybody? And then obviously he's like, at one point, he's like, well, did you ever know a girl named Maddie? And initially he said no.
Yeah.
But as time goes on, he's like, well, don't you want to know what happened to your ex-girlfriend? And he's like, oh, you said you didn't know her. And so obviously this is the point where we know shit gets real, and Anubis has put on his little pharaoh hat and the makeup and everything, and starts telling him, like, who's gonna believe you, and they're gonna think you're crazy. It's like, well, dude, look at you, they're gonna think you're crazy.
Yeah.
So he starts getting away, he starts running away in the middle of the night, and he ends up in this like underground bunker basically, and he finds like a body of somebody who's wrapped in mummy cloth and stuff, and they got bloody noses, and so I already knew like what's going on with that. Like I said, oh shit, I know this mythology about this, what happens with people like this, like Egyptian mythology.
Yep.
And although it's a little bit different, but so that person starts waking up, but they're clearly not together. They're almost like brain dead. And so he starts finding there's other people that are mummified and they're walking around, but they're just like zombies almost. Like they're just kind of wandering around, moaning and groaning and stuff.
Yeah.
And so he finally runs out and he runs to like a tree or something. Then all of a sudden he turns around, there's another mummy, to which he finds that's Maddie.
Yeah.
But she's like lost, like she's attacking him. So then even though you don't see it on screen, he's like taking the rock and like it's clearly smashing her head. You can hear it. And so that kind of leaves like, he's like, damn, that was Maddie. He's got like blood on his face, whatever. And then he runs back. He hears like gunshots. So like Anubis is like shooting people, probably shooting other mummies. He says, you let them out.
Yeah.
And so again, that's off screen. You don't really see him doing anything. You just know he's got like a gun and stuff. And then finally, like
he knocks him out with the gun.
Yeah.
He's like, Keith, and then boom, knocks him out, and then Keith wakes up. And he's
like, so then we see like, where Osiris is like laying down, and I don't know if he's dead or just, out of it like the other guy.
Yeah, I don't know either.
But Keith, he's also laying down. He's got like the eye of Osiris on his head. I think that's Osiris. I could be wrong. People can correct me with that. But he's laying there. He's paralyzed from like the face down. Like, so whatever drug that Anubis gave him, like, can control whether or not he can lift his arms or anything. And so he starts telling him, like, don't worry, this will be fine. Just it didn't work for the others, but I'm sure it's going to work for you. And he takes like a needle point and shoves it up, and that's something they used to do for like lobotomies and stuff, like to try to take away the insane. Like, that was an old school way of dealing with shit. But with Egyptian mythology, it was done as well, but a lot of times in the past they would have hooks, and so they would take it up there and pull out the brains through your nose.
Yeah.
So that's initially what I thought was going to happen. I thought, oh shit, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And I kind of wish they had, but they didn't do that.
No.
But he does shove it up there, and it's kind of unnerving. That's a scene that's really unnerving for what it is. And then all you get after that is like a scene with Anubis. He's out in the sunshine. I think you saw it in the trailer. He's like kind of sitting out in the open field and talking to the camera. And then we just get this final scene basically where you hear the moaning and groaning. And it's Keith, who's clearly brain dead and just kind of out there with him in a zombie-like state. And Anubis is all like, it's okay, buddy, you're free. You worked, And it's like just really bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand what he wanted with Keith. Like, he's more like a dog almost,
Yeah.
but like
Yeah, it's
puppy.
hard to really gauge what Anubis's goal was, because even when he's talking to the camera, he's like talking to somebody that he knew at one point, maybe a girl or whatever, but he's like, we did it. He kept saying we did it, and I don't know who he's referring to. But the thing that I wish they would have done is, and what would have made this a lot more creepier than that was, had he actually, even if he didn't puncture them like he did with their brains and stuff, if you'd kind of kept them in like coffins, like sort of like the Egyptian ones, like they were showing earlier, as like he was building his own. I don't know what they called them, but the Egyptian, when they would bury pharaohs underneath the pyramids, they'd be buried with their servants and everything, usually alive.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that would have been a cool thing if Anubis was trying to do that in his own mind. Like, I'm going to bury people, so when I go to die, my servants and my friends will all be there.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's initially what he was trying to do, but it didn't sound like it by the way that he's saying that the previous experiments didn't work. So I don't know what he really meant. And he's never really clear about what he was trying to do or accomplish with that. So it's kind of hard to determine his motives, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I like up to that point, I was so confused on. I just thought he wanted him to join the cult and he wasn't going to let him go.
Yeah.
And then that whole, it just took a weird turn.
Yeah. And a lot of reviews I read, like they like that turn, but it's like, and they keep again comparing it to Creep, which Creep is way better for anybody that hasn't seen it. It's just a way better film, top to bottom. But I don't mind the change in the direction, but like I said, I would have done it way differently with the ending, because to me, even if those people are alive, and if you lock them away in coffins, that's way creepier. Just because you can probably hear them bumping or whatever.
Yeah.
And even if Keith finds his girlfriend down on that table or whatever, that's creepier than what we got.
Yeah.
And which is why I kind of wish it would have played out a little bit differently there with that. And it kind of changed the way that even the film just kind of ends abruptly towards the end there. So I don't know. You have any other thoughts, or you want to give your final thoughts and rating on this one?
I'll just go to the final.
Yeah. It's a pretty straightforward film. It doesn't really deviate too much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's found footage, which I like. I actually like, I don't know, I would say I like Anubis, but he was an interesting enough character that kept my interest. Like I said, I didn't know when he was going to strike. The movie was only a little over an hour, so I thought the pace of this was very good. Like there was no dragging or anything. It was just, it kept you interested. So that was good.
Yeah.
Negative, like I said, the place looked like fake as hell, and it wasn't very believable as a commune. I did like the interviews in the beginning with the dark or the black and white, with the people talking about it. It sounded cool. I would have liked to. I wish we could have had more of what they showed or were talking about than
like
what we got.
Like it was before everything went down.
Yeah, like this Osiris guy sounded like he was okay. It wasn't like it sounded like an okay cult at first,
right?
And then it's turned into this drug filled shit, and I don't know. And he didn't do any drugs while he was there with him. He just drank a lot of wine. But
yeah, he kept saying, like, even when he gave Keith the one drug, like he's like, what vision did you have? Because I took the same thing you did, and my vision said this, but he could have been lying, as far as that was concerned. But
yeah, and they didn't say like anything about that. Like, okay, but and I think it was a cool idea. Like cults are creepy. Anubis was a creepy dude. Kind of remind me of Tyler Oliveri, the documentary guy, which is funny.
Yeah.
Documentary. I didn't hate it, but I think that ending was just a little confusing for me. I was like, at first I thought they're zombies, then it's like, oh, they're brain dead, and then it's like, what was he trying to do? And then that whole ending with Keith, I don't know. But I guess I would probably say it's about a 6.5. Wasn't bad. It wasn't great.
Right.
It was a decent indie horror film, I thought.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I feel pretty much the same way you do. I mean, it was okay. Good thing it didn't drag. That probably would have hurt it more. Like I said, outside of those things I pointed out where I would have changed kind of like your creepiness factor, because him, like, even though you're not seeing it, him shooting the other zombies, like, you have to know, what are you doing with the bodies? Like, there's just too much unexplanation there with that, because it's loud. Even though he's not really close to any cities, I mean, there's got to be other farms and stuff around that would hear that.
Yeah.
But it doesn't really add to his idea of Egypt, because, like, apparently Anubis was so wrapped up in the mythology about, he explained like the cosmos and how the Egyptians looked at it and how they knew about shit like that.
Yeah.
That's fine. I like that part, because that kind of ties you to movies like Stargate and how they viewed the Egyptians versus alien aspect. But
yeah,
it didn't really follow through. And then, I'm thinking, okay, Anubis is a big Egyptian guy. Why do you have all your remaining members down in this bunker and just wandering around? What's the ultimate goal here? Like, what was your plan? What was it that supposedly wasn't happening that happened with Keith? Because Keith looked like he acted the same way everyone else did. I didn't see anything different.
Yeah.
Just the other ones were a little bit more violent, but maybe they were hungry. I don't know. Because again, how is he feeding them? Because I was wondering, Maddie, how long the time was from Maddie disappearing to when Keith goes after her. And if Anubis isn't feeding them or anything, they would probably just die from starvation. They can't feed themselves.
Yeah.
So it's really weird. Just, they didn't really address a lot of that, and they could have done a better job if they just left them alive in coffins and they just kind of died from starvation or suffocation. That would have been made more sense to me.
Yeah.
But I'm with you. It's about a 6.5. I mean, it's interesting enough, but it could have been way better than it was for me.
Yeah. Agreed.
Anyway, for those that are watching this, by next few days, I'm sure this guy here will have his pick up, and he's chosen to do Don't Open Till Christmas. And I forget what year that's from. Do you remember the year?
84.
So we'll be reviewing that soon on his channel. And then when he has it up, you guys can go and check it out. Give us your thoughts. Have you seen this? I'm like him. I had never heard of it till recently, until I just came across it. So let us know your thoughts in the comments section. Please like and subscribe to Mr. Tony of the Dead. And we'll see you next time on the Ghouls of Midnight.
Have a cool night.
Just before you die.